Good evening, everyone. Thanks so much for sticking around after work. It is 6 p.m. now. My name is Donnie Mark Ramdatsing. I'm the Chief Technology Officer at Caribbean Tech Trends Limited. This is a very interesting and nice time um, for us to be in IT. And before I kick it off, I want to thank everybody for making the time and spending the time this afternoon. I'm seeing 47, 48 people on this call right now, and it is being recorded. So if you drop out, please feel free to connect back, and we'll actually email you the link to this recording a little later on. So it's been a long day. It's been a long week. It's a very busy month. Microsoft has kicked off their worldwide agenda of digital transformation retooling. So I wanted to spend some time with you all today because a number of customers are calling into the office because they're getting information from Microsoft that a lot of things are changing. And what does it mean for IT pros, right? What is this big story about digital transformation? How do we grasp it? And it's been there for a long time, but they didn't know what was happening until now. Now things are changing. Now job roles are changing. Now people are asking employers for different type of things, and the employers, sorry, the people are asking employees for different type of things, and now the employees are responding with, "I'm not too sure what to do." So Microsoft has launched worldwide, and is interesting because in the Caribbean where we are, we've been seeing these things happening, but there were no path before. So these job openings were coming up, but there was no way to attach it, and it was a little messy, very messy for a long time until now. So I want to make sure that we do go over 30 minutes in this session. If we are successful, keeping it under 30 minutes, um, and you want to talk to me afterward, please feel free to call me the numbers before. Okay, so for September 2019, what has changed and why are we doing this? And let's start with that, right? I want to open the discussion about talking about why behind all of these things. So, like I alluded a little while ago, jobs exist today that didn't exist 3 years ago. I'll give you a shining example. We used to spend a lot of time talking about system administrators or database administrators. It's now moving and shifting in a big way because the system admins now are now cloud admins, and it's not just a word difference, it's an entirely new world difference. And let's even go a little more granular with database administrators. While they were restricted to database configuration with relational database, the world that we live in and the data explosion that we are exposed to now doesn't look like the way a relational database is. uh, Tables and rows, those are now, yes, they're still around, but now we have tons of data, pictures embedded, audio embedded, Wikipedia stuff, a lot external to data sets are there. So it's amazing time to understand that data has exploded all over. We have to now become not database engineers. That role is changing to data engineers, whereby there's not bounded by databases anymore. I'm being a little quick to talk about it, and there's a roadmap to do that. So those skills required by those jobs continue to evolve. So even by recording this webinar we're doing now, it's probably already in about a month's time is going to change, right? And it's going to continue to evolve. So innovate more, be more competitive, and grow your business. And that really is the promise that digital transformation has for a very long time. This trend continues to increase the technologies, that Microsoft technology momentum, and not only Microsoft tech, everybody, all the technologies, Cisco, Juniper, Fortinet, Amazon, Google, everybody is pushing momentum because the industry is shifting so quickly. Now we know, CTTL knows that we are seeing this because we're talking to many customers. As we work with a number of customers, we are able to see their world through their own eyes. We know, and they keep on saying the same thing. Hey guys, hey Donnie, we're only seeing what happens to us, and they only get that change or the problem when it hits you. While with Caribbean Tech Trends is seeing it shaping and changing, we understand that y'all may not see it because you're in the company. We're going to see it because we're working with everybody's or every other many other companies. So this session will give you some illumination to what is happening industry wide, very specific to Caribbean as well, not just worldwide, but it's impacting here too, right? So the 91%, and this is just hard numbers, 91% of Fortune 500 companies worldwide use Microsoft Tech. Triple digit growth in finance and operations, deployed organizational customers for Microsoft Tech in FY19, which is June to July, really is Power Platform revenue triple digits. That is Power BI, Flow, Power Apps, etc. And that production that they keep on building new tech. And I'm not talking about Microsoft. I'm talking about internal organizations, IT. You guys are building production applications now on Power Platform. So those are really dramatic changes. Of course, the story of Azure is well known. Is making record numbers as usual, dramatic growth, and millions of deployments for customers globally. So what's the problem? Okay, so the problem, or the opportunity rather, is that there's a huge demand for skilling. And when I'm talking about skilling, I'm talking about you guys. And that is why Microsoft has been, their learning team, their worldwide learning team, has been investing so much time in learning products and certification they can offer within this new digital transformation space, right? So there's a big catch here, right? There's a big need for capable resources, and we've all been there when we either have employed folks or know of a story of people who have employed folks that are certified to the hilt. They got X certification, Y certification, Z certification. But when you put them in front of the actual problem to solve, they are not able to do it. And that really isn't all their fault. That was because the composition of the examination before really didn't test skills. It tested memory. It tested how quick you could remember and regurgitate. It did not focus on skills. So the question became, how does Microsoft fix that, right? And you have to give credit to Microsoft. You really have to give credit to Microsoft. I'm talking about IT pros. For a long time, I've been lobbying to technology companies, make your certifications more relevant, because they need to tell employers that these guys or these ladies can do the job. It didn't do that for a long time. And until now, and you have to give credit because Microsoft took the bull by the horn, so to speak, and then they went forward with this. Okay, so how do they do this? How did Microsoft approach the skilling? How do they even start? So it is a very, now that's a cool thing because part of my job, I get to work with the Microsoft learning teams and I get to understand how they do what they do. The process is a very, very arduous process. It's long and extremely involved. They start with market research. Microsoft sits down and tries to figure out how common is this function or this role in the field. Is this real? We have all this applications around Dynamics, data, SQL, we got Azure, we got 365, we got Windows 10, we got SharePoint, we got Exchange, blah, blah, blah. How really common is this function? And where does the need for skilling happen, right? So once Microsoft hones in or zones in on that role, which is in the greatest demand, because they're doing it the opposite way too. They took out all the courses too. They perform something called a JTA, a job task analysis, which Caribbean Tech Trends does locally to our Caribbean customers. And Microsoft brings in subject matter experts, people that know this stuff inside out, and people who are in those functions and those quote unquote roles to be. They put them in a room and spend an entire week with them. And during that week, every single task that they do is recorded. They leave the session with a huge big master list of skills, thousands or hundreds of lines of in an Excel spreadsheet with notes and links and discussion points. And while that is their main output, they also leave with a number of other things that may not be as easily recorded unless they had those type of meetings. They leave with SME insight. They leave with subject matter expert insights into what type of structure the training is required for people entering this role. Where is hands-on required? Where is it necessary? Where can it not be done? And then they talk about and they build how long will an instructor take to do to effectively teach this class. All of that is covered in that JTA, which actually pushes into an aligned learning experience. And that aligned learning experience, all that details inform the learning team how to create instructor-led training, how to create classrooms training, how to do large-scale events like that events, etc., training events, open hacks, etc. So Caribbean Tech Trends participates in all these. In the digital skilling, we have um, a ton of packages that will give those ready skills quickly, faster, and cheaper. You can get something called the CTTL passport. And with that, you're going to get discounts from 20% all the way up to 100%. Yes, all the way up to free. So after this call, we'll talk about that. We also do events co-sponsored by Microsoft where we talk on behalf and with Microsoft, and we do different workshops and conferences, different events. That training event kind of gives you insight into a small pocket of the technology, maybe a service, how to deploy, how to configure, but it gives you an understanding or quick insight, a quick view. The classroom really is the main one. And that classroom is how is the slide before, which was how they built these new roles. Tons of stuff goes in there. High definition labs, very strong on it, and it's really you leave those classrooms feeling fully aware. Now, Caribbean Tech Trends has some things that go beyond this normal classroom experience that make us very exclusive, and we can talk about that later on if you like. All of the training that we do is validated skills, and it's tied back into role-based certifications. Okay, so the question is, should we do other training? There are tons of stuff free on YouTube. There are other third-party certifications. The answer is yes. It isn't a either or. Before there was, hey, we need to do this, or we could do that. In digital transformation, that doesn't exist. We are always on a 24 by 7 consuming technology, new tech and new learning and new everything. It really is, it isn't an either or situation. It's you learn everything. That is the new industry. Learn everything, never stop learning. If you stop learning, you stop doing useful things. And that should sum up what digital transformation really is, right? Um, it's very interesting this time we're in because Microsoft is redesigning testing as well to better evaluate if the employee or exam candidate rather has this ability to actually perform that job role, right? To achieve that, Microsoft new exams really had to emphasize a couple of things. Demonstrating that type of skill rather than memory. Just answering questions A, B, C, D, or all that apply, you're going to see a much less than that, right? Each exam that Microsoft puts out in the market will have a perform. Not all are there yet, but all the new ones are all performance based, where you will actually work, the person taking the exam rather, will actually work in a live demo exam with a script running behind it. It's called a grading script, and that grading script will run behind the scenes, and it will confirm if the person it were able to actually complete the task. So they were really focused on ensuring that they can utilize that tech. So when an HR person or an IT manager see you have this new role-based cert, you are 100% sure that this person can do that stuff, right? So Microsoft and everybody else, CTTL employers, everybody else who understands what is happening is really excited about creating this new opportunity because we're finally getting a team of folks, an IT team that is really, really skilled. And that to us is an extremely amazing part because while we had a ton of folks certified and trained, they didn't have really those hands-on skills what we needed. So that's changing. And there are three different expertise levels that the job role focuses on, right? Three different certification role parts. One is the fundamentals. And that really is if you get, getting started, you have 1 or 2 years experience and or even zero. This is where you want to change jobs, you're coming into that role. So in that example, and I want to kind of make this clear, you may have 20 years experience in IT, but no years experience in Azure or Dynamics or Microsoft 365 or Office 365 or SharePoint Online, whatever. You may not have any experience. You need to study the fundamentals. Do not jump just into the associate. It's tempting to jump in the associate because you don't need to have the fundamentals all the time in many cases. But you're going to lose all of that knowledge which exists in the fundamentals path. I think it's going to be a shame if you just jump that path. Okay? The associate really is where we normally see a lot of different customers from the corp and the enterprise space entering through. They already have the technology there. It's in their environment. They are interacting with it, but they don't have all the knowledge. They don't know how this thing runs well. And because the technology changes every 2 months, they find it very difficult to be skilled and grasp it. That is the associate level, right? That is 2 to 5 years production experience. And of course, expert rather, are really targeted towards different types of IT pros. They need advanced expertise, they need advanced level skills. Those folks really are in it 2 years plus, 2 to 5, and probably more. And many of those require the associate cert first. So it is cumulative in nature for many of them. Okay? All right. So there are four different role based. Let me refocus or rephrase that. Microsoft current complete certification portfolio includes four different segments: apps and infrastructure, data and AI, modern workplace, and business applications. You can tell just by looking at this slide, the far right business applications are going crazy because what you're seeing now is that IT and business are blending. Where it was pure IT and pure coding and pure infrastructure before, we're now seeing the entry point of IT is merging into data and AI, into MW, into apps and infra, into BI. So it's telling you you're gonna have to have new skills. So Microsoft updates their certification regularly, or they have committed to do that to reflect the change in the pace of business and technology. Not just technology anymore. Now it's a lot more business. So the certs remain or they have pledged to keep it technically accurate. They like I said before, it's going to run every 2 months or so. All right, now let me sit down here for a couple of minutes because I want to explain this kind of clearly to you. Under the four segments, they start with the fundamentals. The Azure fundamentals are both living in apps and infrastructure and data and AI. So before you go into that path, either if you have an app, if you have a data center in the cloud, or you have a hybrid, that's your app and infrastructure. If you're a data workload, things like artificial intelligence, SQL on things, SQL hybrid, or SQL on Azure SQL, data scientist for predictive analytics, etc. You start with your Azure fundamentals. And the Azure fundamentals gives you that knowledge, that baseline understanding of how Azure works, how Azure functions, how Azure works in a production environment, right? So the data center, which you are familiar with, may look a bit familiar like the apps and infrastructure, but this is all Azure, right? This is, of course, there's on-prem stuff there too, but it's focused on new things. The Azure administrator closely resembles what a data center administrator or system administrator may have looked like, and it's very. I'm being very facetious here because it's nothing. It's very far apart. It is two different things completely, but it's kind of. I only use it for term of reference. The Azure developer is building solutions on Azure, and Azure security engineer are the folks that really lock down Azure because the data center has to be protected, and it requires a different level of skill, not just your CPT, not just a CSSP, but Azure specific. This is Azure security frameworks, right? And DevOps engineer on top, and then the solutions architect. So that's apps and infrastructure. The ASA, which is the Azure Solutions Architect, lives on both spaces, both data, AI, and apps. And the Azure, we talked about the Azure data scientist, the AI, right, right. So the modern workplace translates into your productivity environment, your Windows, and it starts with the Microsoft 365 fundamentals. In it, you're going to see the security administrator, which is a very expanded role. You normally see a person with the Azure security engineer and the Microsoft 365 security administrator skills in the same company because they normally, once they have Azure and they have Microsoft 365, they need to have the skills for both. Messaging administrator loosely couples to your mail, and I shouldn't say loosely coupled. It really is one to one in mail configuration, Exchange on-prem, Exchange online. Teamwork is your SharePoint. Desktop administrator is your Windows 10. Enterprise administrator is a number of new technologies to tie all together, and that exists on the expert level. Yeah. In the business applications, we start from the Dynamics 365 fundamentals, extremely important class, especially if you're new to Dynamics. And then you start looking at all the things, finance and operations for manufacturing, finance and operations, supply chain, finance and operations for functional consultant for financials, then Dynamics 365 for marketing, Dynamics 365 for field service, Dynamics 365 for customer service, and sales for functional consultants. So there's a lot of things there that Microsoft works kind of hard to prove that the person has the skills to perform that business outcome. And again, they have this now, and as time goes on, they will remove and they will add on, which to meet the market conditions. Now I know you can't see this here too well, and as a matter of fact, I will make an email which for you guys, if you need this, I will send you a PDF of all of these exam codes and course numbers and all that. So if you need it, please reach out to us so I can email it to you. How much people we have in the chat now? Whoa, 66. Or are there any questions? Yeah, you could start from fundamentals, or you can go into the associate level. Yeah, yeah. I recommend based on your skill level. Sorry, the question was if you could just go into the associate level. The answer is yes, depending on your skill level. But I would always recommend for the fundamentals because that gives you a very good skill gap. Even for me, who have been using it for a long time, when the fundamentals curriculum came out, I did the fundamentals and I learned a lot of stuff that I didn't even know. And I was actually working I thought I was working at a high level as a associate and the expert that I was already certified in. But when the fundamentals came, I was like, wow, I actually did a number of things in there during that time. So yeah, I won't skip the fundamentals like that. His labs. So yeah, hope that answers the question. Next question is the labs. Yeah, so we have our facility offers labs that run way beyond the class complete. So I can give you more information. We can chat about that if you need. But yes, you're gonna get the skills in the labs. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Any other questions? Yes, yeah, absolutely. We have the calendar out. It's on cttl.net. If you go to the calendar there, it's also under the promotions page. Yeah. Uh-huh. And yeah, there's more questions. Somebody's typing. Oh, good question. The question was they heard that on demand, which is your do it yourself, is coming to an end. Yeah, so I'll get into that a couple of slides later down. The on demand is coming to an end, and it doesn't have Microsoft is not doing any on demand courses for the new role based certification. It exists for about 70 titles, MCSA and stuff, but the old stuff, not the new stuff. Yeah. hmm I'll talk about it when I go down. So, yeah, let me pass this down because it's too tiny for you guys to see, but I will make the PDF of it. And it really is a representation of what the exam is, what technology it runs for, etc. And it maps back to the actual big diagram I had on front. So it's broken down into segments, and this is very useful for you to go through. Yeah. So this is a very cool slide. There was a prediction by IDC that by 2021, 38% of cloud-related IT position will open up on the answer. It was amazing because, yeah, the job people used to, people thought 5 years ago, 7 years ago that when cloud would come, that they would lose jobs, and besides the assurances that were promised by the cloud vendors that jobs will increase, people didn't believe it because we're not normally doubtful, right? I mean, I was in there and I was like, how is this going to give me a new job, right? But they actually were right, and they were actually very honest, and they were actually very upfront, and they were very clear, and the crystal balls worked. They were very, very clear that there were new jobs. And look, this is a proof point. There are so many new jobs now that um, it really is mind-boggling that we were even worried before. Now, yes, some jobs are going away. Yes, your system administrator, your database administrator, those jobs are, yes, going away, but they are being replaced by new skills. And I'll tell you a story here. When we did the first role-based training in Trinidad, because it was a pilot a couple of months ago, they were saying, and I'm not going to tell you the company's name, they were saying that this skill, this role is needed, but is not even developed in their organization. And the HR manager was telling them, you need to have this. Imagine HR was telling IT, you need to do this. It was kind of confusing to me. But they were pilots, and it was an amazing experience for us because we got to see how these are really impactful. It wasn't generic, it wasn't open ended, it was very specific to that function. Okay, so, and I want to kind of pivot into the top right two there, which was 35% of IT pros surveyed say they were more influential during cloud deployments. Now, I've been a broken record with this, and it's been difficult for some customers we're dealing with to understand this properly because you need to have these skills before the cloud comes in. Now, when they're in, there's nothing you can do. You still have to do the training. But it works best if you know this stuff before the cloud is deployed in a company. When it's done by a partner or a third party, etc., you get to understand and to make recommendations and to change configurations in those deployments. So you really need to have that skill before. That is the best scenario. And you need to impress and explain that properly to your team, your IT manager, your project managers, that you guys need to know this stuff before it comes in. All right. So big shift I know for some companies. Some other companies I know do this all the time. Okay. All right. So what is popular? What is really happening? And this insight, I think, is maybe the most important series or sets of slides because it gives you information about what is happening around the world. So from the Americas, where we are, the Caribbean, if we look at that top 10 list, it's cloud. Azure Fundamentals, number one course being consumed in the whole of Americas. Americas, Canada, USA, Latam, Central America, and Caribbean, all Caribbean, right? Azure Fundamentals are the number one, followed by the Azure Admin because we're moving data centers from the regions into the public cloud for Azure. Third is Azure Data Solutions. Four, Cloud Crunching Data Powered Power BI. Five, Azure again. Number six is the first time we've seen Windows Server on-prem. And that is because we're doing a lot of hybrid work within the region, pushing stuff into the cloud. Number seven, PowerShell, because obviously we need to understand how to automate these things. We're not going to do this manually anymore. Number seven, Azure. Number eight, SQL. Number nine, Azure Data. Sorry, number 10. So, sorry if I kind of mixed up the numbers there, but it's late in the evening, right? So, but what I'm trying to focus on is that this is all cloud. It's heavily tilted towards cloud. So if you think that it's not happening, I want you guys to look at it differently because it's not happening to you doesn't mean it's not happening everywhere around. It's only a bucket of time left that you can act because then it's just gonna completely consume you. You're never going to catch up. So you have to start learning. And I'm not saying do a class by us or whatever, but you have to start learning to keep your skills relevant. Right. So while this is happening on the left hand, the America side, the Middle East and Africa are a completely different story. As a matter of fact, there's a story there that needs to be told. Unlike the US or LATAM or Latin America, South America, etc., that are gone cloud, the other side is, on the Middle East and Africa, are all on-prem. Installation of Windows Server cloud is on-prem, sorry. Power BI, cloud, first one. Programming in C, normally on-prem. Identity, prem. Networking, prem. ESP, normally on-prem. Programming HTML, on-prem. Azure, aha. So number 2 and number 8 is cloud. And number 9 is Exchange, and number 10 is System Center. But why am I saying 2? Because before last cycle had none. So it's coming in. For a number of month cycles before, there were no cloud sales in the Middle East and Africa. Now it's coming. 20% of their top 10 is cloud. That's a big deal. It's broken into, right? Europe kind of mirrors what the US has. It's tons of cloud. Top 10 is Azure Fundamentals, Azure Admin, Power BI, Automation, Azure Solution, and then of course it has the core skill, which is the MCS in 2016, Administration System Center, and then Azure again, Modern Desktop Administrator, which is new Modern Workplace, and then SQL. And then APAC, which is the Asia Pacific, is as expected as well, very similar to both Europe and the US. Azure, Power BI, Azure, Solutions Architect, Azure, Windows Server, Azure Fundamentals, and Automation. Everybody has that. So the world has shifted. The world has gone cloud. If you don't have the skills, I'm hoping you see what is happening before you, so you can make some sense of this. So I think we're over 32 minutes already. Let me try to move as much as fast as I can because I want to keep it under 30 minutes. Right. Some of the planned courses coming out and new data, new Azure courses, new artificial intelligence courses. It's all written here. I will send you this information as well. This is not guaranteed or cast in stone. Microsoft is building out new Azure for monitoring workloads. We're bringing an Amazon Web Service Azure Administrator course. We're building out an IT Pro on developers. We're building a SAP course to deploy SAP on Azure. We're doing an Azure solution design. And then Microsoft 365 is doing a building apps and solutions in 365. Good news, a lot of people are asking what happened to the old 20347 Office 365 admin, not the M365, the Office 365 admin. That's now being converted from 20347 to MS030T00, right? So that is due next month, and I'll update you all for the next week what's happening. We are also moving or merging new Windows 10 because it overlaps. We're gonna make it tighter and smaller. Managing modern desktops, identity services in Microsoft 365, and planning, messaging, etc. So tons of stuff are happening quickly. It'll keep on evolving as we move on. Right. Second to last slide, I want to touch this because I'm seeing two other questions about need more clarification on MOC on demand. Okay. For the folks that don't know, Microsoft On Demand was a product that Microsoft developed, which was a do-it-yourself learning, a video-based training with a company and labs, the exact labs that they are with the mock. And it really was built to let people study at their own pace. It is going away. It is not going to be, it's done. They're phasing it out in 2019. It is too expensive for Microsoft to host it on their labs, and they've announced its retirement. What does it mean? It means that all on-demand training kits are going to go away this year. So if you have technologies like Windows Server 2016, Azure Hybrid, all those things that are there, and you need those skills now, You want to take advantage of it. There's no tomorrow. So all of them that we have are on sale because they are on sale worldwide. I will send this to everybody at the end, the course catalogs. It's a worldwide inventory, so it's not only Caribbean, and the numbers are going down, and there's still a number. It still has a lot, but it's gonna go down, and it's going down every day by hundreds worldwide because they're pulling out from everybody else. So get your stuff in now, buy your packs, get your stuff lined up because after this cycle is all done, it's your do it yourself. You can do this at home. 24, these are not the role based, these are the other classes. 24 by 7, 90 days access to labs, fully hosted, everything. So yeah, it's kind of sad for us to stop this because many customers came to us to buy this for do it yourself, but it's costing Microsoft too much to keep it running, and they're putting it out. So now is your time. Don't put it off any further. Make sure that you take you grab your packs, 3 packs, 6 packs, buy whatever, how much ever you need for yourself, your teams, because there's no. Sometimes people put things off and say next month or next year, and this is that time that there is no next month and there is no next year for these courses. All right, guys, the mock on demand transition. Contact us so we can make sure that you get your stuff before it goes away for good. Right, so thanks very much, everybody. There is some other questions I'm seeing that I will reply with an email because I don't want to keep this recording running too long. I try to keep it to 30 minutes. Thank you for you guys. I'm seeing 71 people now. That's good that we actually kept you guys. I hope the information was helpful, and I'm glad that you guys see the. You're quite welcome. Yes, yes. Email me. Sure. Yeah. Sorry, guys. I'm answering a question, which is, can they? Somebody asked, can they email? Yes. Email us. We'll answer every single one you have. It's a mission for us at Caribbean Tech Trends Limited to prepare the IT workforce for these new skills. So yes, we will be in contact with all of you, talking to you, making sure that you know what is happening. Yeah, it's not like before. Before, people kind of ignored training; they didn't need it. They would pull up a online video or a self training stuff, and but that's not the case anymore. With all these new things happening, you need help. You need a boost. Caribbean Tech Trends is your secret sauce. We are your boost. All right, guys. So have a good afternoon, everybody. Talk to you very soon. We are here to help you get over this first hurdle, and then it gets very exciting after that. So have a good evening, everybody. Thank you very much for joining. Have a good night. Take care.